Hello, good morning, and welcome to episode 22 of the Coffee, Yarn, and Dinosaurs podcast. My name is Ruth Brash. I am the designer behind Ruth Brash Designs and the yarn dyer behind Fearless Feet Fiber Company. Welcome back 2 weeks in a row. I don't think I've ever done a podcast 2 weeks in a row. This might be a record. We'll see. We'll see how long I can keep it up. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about a finished project, a couple of projects I am working on and very, very nearly done, and plans for the future. So let's start off with finished projects. I should have brought blockers over, but I don't have them. So finished projects, these are a new pattern. They're my design. They're called Ninja Run, and they actually just came out on the 18th, so just 2 days ago. Today is Thursday. It is Thursday, the 20th of February, 2020. So check this out. These are called Ninja Run because I explained a little bit in the last episode, but I will sum up. If you have seen Naruto, or you've seen the people who run like this, they're imitating the anime runs. And so Ninja Run, it looks like the arms stretched out behind. So this was released on February 18th, for the Lots of Socks knit along that is being run in the Paper Daisy Creations group. The yarn is at Haynes House Yarn in the colorway Naruto: The Hidden Stone. So, they are toe up. They have a fleagle heel and a nice tall cuff at the top. It's very basic lace. It's nothing terribly complicated. So these are part of the Lots of Socks knit along, which is a knit along that began, I believe, February 10th, and it runs through March 20th, and you only have to knit one sock by a participating designer to be entered to win prizes. So just keep that in mind. So the goal of this knit along is to raise awareness and funds for an organization called Down Syndrome International. If you want to know more about that, you can check out the previous episode of the podcast because I go into a little more detail about that. But these socks, along with all of my other sock patterns, are currently 50% off through the end of February. And half of all of the sales I make on my sock patterns through the end of February will be donated to Down Syndrome International. So if you've been looking at my sock patterns, if you've been thinking, I really like those, but I don't know, you can get sock patterns for half off and knit them for charity, or you can just hold on to them. You could just, buy sock patterns. That's cool. If you accumulate patterns like I do, because I definitely, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. You'll see why. Sometimes it's like buying yarn, right? Like sometimes you buy yarn because it's pretty. Sometimes you buy patterns because they're pretty. And then sometimes you don't, and you use up the things that you have. So yes, Ninja Run socks, Lots of Socks knit along. I highly recommend you check out both. You can win patterns from lots of designers. You can win yarn from lots of yarn companies who are sponsoring, including me, including Fearless Feet Fiber Company. And yeah, that's about it. Ninja Run, lots of socks. Moving on. So, pardon me, I have coffee because I always have coffee, and also because I have a tickle in my throat because I have a kid in kindergarten and they always get sick. So, next project I am working on. I have made a significant amount of progress on this test knit I am working on for Knititude for Chantel. This is the My Beginner Raglan pattern, and you can see I am all the way down to the ribbing at the bottom. Oh yeah. This will block longer than it looks right now. So you can see right now, this is my hip bone. This is the sweater, okay? So this is Malabrigo Rios, which is a 100% superwash merino, and it's in garter stitch at a pretty loose gauge, which means that when I pop this sucker into some water and some wool wash, it is going to explode. So funny thing about knitting this sweater, Chantel's sample sweater was knit in a mostly acrylic, I think it might have been like touch of cashmere or touch of alpaca, one of those Lion brand ones that are like 80 to 90% acrylic with a little bit of a luxury fiber mixed in. So her gauge didn't grow much with steam blocking. She and I have talked about this extensively for a reason I'm about to tell you. This is why it's important for you to swatch, right? So I swatched for this sweater, and I know my before gauge, before blocking, and I know my after blocking gauge. And I know how much my gauge grows once I block a certain section. So her pattern is written for, you know, do your increases, blah, blah, blah. Here's how deep the yoke should be before you split the armholes. And if it's not that deep, keep going. And I said, Chantel, listen, I know we're testing a pattern, so it's important for me to follow the directions exactly and not deviate. But I need to tell you that my swatch grew significantly. And if I knit to that length, the sweater is going to be enormous when it blocks out, right? So that's a tricky thing about knitting with a swatch that grows a lot, like lace or, you know, this superwash merino. So I had to knit to the number of rows that I know will get me the correct length once I block it. And she was like, listen, you know about blocking. I trust you. That's cool. Go for it. But some of the poor girls in the testing group had never knit a sweater, and they were like, wait, what's going on? And I was like, no, sorry. Like, don't get confused. But what I'm trying to say is, say you have 15 rows to 4 inches and the pattern says knit for 4 inches. You need to knit until you have 15 rows, because that's your gauge, not until your project measures 4 inches. Does that make sense? Because if you knit to 4 inches and then it grows, you have a problem. This is why people end up with sweaters that are huge that don't fit, because they knit to the measurement while they're in the project instead of knitting the correct number of rows to get them the blocked measurement. That's also why you have to block your swatch. That's also why you have to swatch in the round if you're working a sweater in the round, because your knit and your purl gauge can be different. This wasn't intended to be a swatching tirade. If you want to see how I swatch, I'm going to see if I can do the cool little like link a video right here thing. I do have a video of swatching in the round. I don't do that back and forth thing. I just knit a tube and then I cut it. I steek it. So if you want to see that happen, I do have a video that I will try to link here. And if I'm not cool enough to have the YouTuber link here, I will link it down below where all of the other information is that you can find me at that I didn't remember to say before now. Anyway, so I am down to the ribbing on the bottom, and then this is going to be a long sleeve sweater. So I still have 2 full sleeves to knit, but very, very excited. I just got myself a set of Chaogu, like the shorties, I don't know what they're called. They're interchangeable shorty needles. And I'm using these for another project, which is why I feel comfortable telling you about them. I am not an affiliate. I just found a cool tool and I wanted to show you. So these are, it's a set of short needles and short cables. These are all US 4 to US 8. The tips on the bottom are 2 inches long. The tips on the top are 3 inches long. I'll put a correction in there if I am incorrect. So basically, you have 2 sets of tips, and then you have 2 cable lengths. One of the cables is 5, one is 6, and one is 8 inches long. So you can mix and match needle tips and cable lengths depending on what circumference of a needle you need to get. So did I keep the cheat sheet? No, I didn't. Please hold. Hang on. Okay, when you buy them individually, they come like this, because I did buy one set first before buying the entire set, because the entire set is like $90, right? So you want to know, which is not a bad for what you're getting. It's not a bad price. They're high quality products. I totally recommend ChiaoGoo. They're not paying me. They're my preferred needle brand, because I know you were curious. So for example, it has on the back, here's the different ways that you could combine the needles to get different, different lengths. So if you combined, like if you're doing sleeves, right? The sweater sleeves. If I want a 12-inch circular, I'll use my 6-inch needle, my 6-inch cable, and then my 2 3-inch needles, and that will give me a 12-inch circular. As I go down the sleeve, should I want to, I could either switch to smaller needle tips, I could switch one needle tip smaller, I could keep the needle tips, I could keep the needle tips and switch to a shorter cable, all kinds of good stuff. So that's why I like interchangeables, because otherwise, I am really, really, really slow at knitting sleeves. And it has prevented me from doing a lot of sweaters, from knitting a lot of sweaters, because I am just really, really slow at doing sleeves. And I can't seem to get into 9-inch circulars for socks, but there's something about the one, if you do the 3-inch tip and the 2-inch tip and the shortest cable possible, it gives you like a 10-inch circular. And for some reason, that 1 extra inch is enough to do it for me. I'm good to go. So I'm going to be using those for the sleeves on this, which brings me to my next project. This bag is full of double pointed needles because that's what I was using for sleeves before I got the ChiaoGoo ones. But so this next project I'm working on is the Robin Hoodie by Lisa Shemery, who is Froganet Designs. She makes the most beautiful babies and children's knitting patterns you have ever seen. And I really, really just enjoy them. So check this out. Look at this design on the hood. It's this really, really cool slip stitch. It's just so cool. So it almost looks like a braid. And this is gonna be a little fold over, like a placket. This will be attached, obviously. And sleeves. And it has a little pocket in the front. I think I'm gonna pick up ribbing edges on this. I believe the pattern calls for that. So you have like a little ribbed edge here, and it's got a little pocket. So this is for my little man. This is for my 4-year-old, and he will absolutely, absolutely love it. So I'm trying to get this done before he's too big for it and before it becomes springtime. Because even though it's February 20th, it has been like mid 40s to maybe even low 50s a couple of days. Oh, so check it out. This is what I was talking about with the circular needles. One of my hairs in my work. This is the 3-inch tip. This is the 2-inch tip. And I have the 5-inch cable around it. And something about having the larger needle in my right hand, it gives me just enough leverage that I can just zip right around these sleeves. And actually I'm sitting here knitting on this wondering why I now haven't finished this. I think there's just a mental block in my head with sleeves. I don't know. But we all have it, right? Like sleeve island, I'm marooned, I'm trapped, and everyone gets all dramatic about sleeves, and it keeps so many of us from finishing our sweaters. I feel like we should have a sleeve along, right? Everyone's got a sweater that needs sleeves somewhere. Finish your sleeves. So, I will stop knitting now, but this is my apple cider colorway. So this is apple cider on my Aran weight tweed, and I absolutely, absolutely love it. So hopefully that will be finished for next time. That would be awesome. And my last project that I'm working on is something totally new that you guys have never seen before. My sister-in-law is having twins, and so I used to make blankets for all of the kids in the family, and then there got to be a lot of babies being born at once, and I kind of just couldn't keep up, and I had my own kids and I wanted to make them stuff. So I sort of like fell off the wagon a little bit with doing baby blankets and baby gifts. But I was just browsing on Instagram, as one does, and the yarn I'm using is Lion brand Ferris wheel. This color is Cherry on Top. And so I wanted to use this, and I wanted to use it with this one, Ferris wheel in Full Moon. So look at those two together. Super duper pretty, right? So I was browsing on Instagram, as one does, browsing the Lion brand Ferris wheel hashtag, sort of just to see what everybody else was making with their Ferris wheel. And I'm gonna pop it in. I saw a beautiful, beautiful picture of a Tunisian Crochet Entrelac cowl in the round, right? Picture here. And so when I saw that, I went, ooh, I've done Tunisian Entrelac before. That would be a really, really cool baby blanket. And so I started looking up Tunisian Entrelac blankets, baby blankets, full-size blankets, whatever. And very, very few of them have smooth edges. It seems for some reason in crochet, the popular way to do Tunisian Entrelac is to leave the, you know, oh my gosh, I can't even make a square. What am I doing? If you have a square, to leave the corner kind of poking out, because then you don't have to worry about fidgeting with the triangles on the side. But I don't like that. I wanted it to have a nice square edge, you know, bottom top, because Tunisian crochet curls. So I wanted to have a nice smooth edge so I could maybe even throw a border on the blanket if I wanted to. Long story short, I started swatching, and this is what I'm making. How cool is this? It is so cool. So what I'm doing is I'm basically taking the knitting technique for Entrelac and I'm like translating it into crochet. So these base triangles, like having all of these flat triangles at the bottom, that's a knitting thing. And then the way that I'm doing the side triangles too, so there'll be a smooth edge, that's a knitting thing. This is just me. I'm just playing. I'm gonna do it all the way up the blanket. I'm so excited about this project. This is my motivation to knit sleeves. I want to knit sleeves so I can do nothing but work on this blanket all the time. I have until early July. To finish it. And you can see I've already started on the second little zigzag portion. And I am just so excited. Oh, and then I'm going to do a second blanket and I'm going to reverse the colors. So there will be blue triangles with the flame colored zigzag. And if it looks terrible, I'll just make 2 identical blankets and who cares? So we'll see. Or I might do different colors of Ferris wheel because I have like a pink and a brown and something like that because they were on sale at Walmart. So yeah. That is not currently written up as a pattern. That's a lie. It's written up as a pattern for me. It's not currently published as a pattern. If you think you might like the pattern for that, let me know. I'm considering it. I think it's pretty much the snazziest thing since sliced bread to have the chevron inside the entrelac. It looks so cool. It does. I love it. I like the square edges. Everything about it makes me happy. This is why I design my own patterns, because I want things the way that I want them. And I like telling other people how to make cool stuff too. So, oh. All right, so that's what I'm working on. This super coolness. I'm pretty sure you guys saw this multiple episodes ago because I finished this in maybe September of 2019, but I finally have it up in testing. So now that it's up in testing, check this bad boy out. Oh, it's so pretty. So it's just this nice, big, comfy drapey shawl. And this is called the Give It a Whirl shawl because it's crocheted with a sheepish whirl, which I'm sure you know what that is. Josephine, you need to go sit now. That is not okay. 3, 2, 1. I love you too. I will be right there. I love you. I will be right there. I will come to you in a minute. I am almost done. Go sit with that Munkins. I will be right there. You gonna obey or disobey, Wubba? Three, 2, 1. Go sit with Munkins. Thank you. So this is a whirl, a Shepherd's whirl, and it is a cotton acrylic blend. So it is going to be absolutely perfect for a spring or summer project. This is the shawl I was making last spring and summer, and I was carrying it around with me everywhere. And I'm really, really excited that my last warm weather project I can wear now because this is awesome for a transition piece. And this should be out, I think, in April. It's so pretty and I love it. And it's this really cool, I'm really happy with the technique I used. You would think it would be asymmetrical from looking at it, but it's a symmetrical triangle. So you get to do the cool asymmetrical line thing, and it's a symmetrical triangle. Ta-da! So that's really, really fun. That is the last of stuff I am working on. But I did also want to tell you cool stuff, something cool and new spotted around the interwebs that Lisa Shemery, who just put out the, rewind. Lisa Shemery, who is the designer of this hoodie, the Robin hoodie, just put out a new collection. Well, the first pattern in a new collection. And she's doing a Shire / Hobbit themed collection. And the first pattern is a little cardigan and it's called 11sies, and I absolutely love it. And I have bought the collection and I do plan on making it because my 6-year-old loves cardigans. He's super into being like dapper and fancy and he just loves cardigans, but he only has one. So I'm either going to use Knit Pick Swish, which is superwash merino, or I might use Knit Picks Brava. This is not a Knit Picks commercial, it just happens to be what I have, which is 100% acrylic, but you can see it's starting to kind of get fuzzy already, just in the ball and just sitting there. So I think this is gonna get saved for a baby blanket. My third option, because my little dude absolutely loves this bright purple color, is Big Twist Soft. And this color is literally just called purple. This is the Joann's brand of yarn, and it is acrylic, so it would probably wear harder. I only have one skein of this though, and I have enough for a sweater for me in this nice soft merino. So I kind of have to make stash decisions. I have a feeling I'm gonna use this for him and save the merino for myself, because a 6-year-old boy in a merino sweater is just, like, it's just gonna get torn up because he's rough on it, which is good and normal and fine. So I will probably grab a couple more of these and make him a sweater. So my time is up. Thank you all for joining me. I will hopefully see you next week. since I'm sort of weekly podcasting now. But yeah, drop in the comment box below if you want to say hi, if you have questions, if you like what you see, please feel free to hit the like button. And if you subscribe, hit the little bell to get notifications, and then you can see if I actually do podcast weekly, which would be cool. If you don't feel like doing that, that's totally cool too. It's just, I didn't realize that you can subscribe to people and not get notifications, so you won't know when they put something up. It's just a thing. And also it helps get my videos seen by other people. Thank you. Bye.